Good evening to all of you watching this international news bulletin. Ladies and gentlemen, the United States is entering a major period of atmospheric upheaval, as multiple signals from meteorological agencies indicate that a pivotal shift in the weather pattern will unfold starting in Thanksgiving week and continuing into the early days of December. Experts from the U.S. Climate Prediction Center note that this transition has a broad scope, directly influencing temperatures, precipitation, the tracks of low-pressure systems, as well as the curvature of the upper-level jet stream. In its latest statement, the agency emphasized that a rare phenomenon known as a sudden stratospheric warming, a sudden warming of the stratosphere over the Arctic region, is occurring precisely at the end of November and may disrupt the stability of the polar vortex. When the polar vortex weakens, the cold air normally confined to the polar region can spill southward into lower latitudes, increasing the likelihood of deep cold outbreaks across North America in the coming weeks. According to the 8 to 14-day forecast map, the United States is showing a remarkably sharp division in temperature. The western region, particularly the Pacific Coast states, the Rocky Mountains, and the inland Northwest, is likely to experience below-average temperatures during the period from November 27 to 28. Conversely, the central and entire eastern United States are leaning toward warmer-than-average conditions. This means that much of the southeast and the Atlantic seaboard could see a rather mild Thanksgiving holiday. However, warm temperatures do not necessarily imply calm weather. A stark boundary between warm and cold air masses can be a prime trigger for the development of strong low-pressure systems moving along this clash zone. The precipitation map for the same time frame suggests that much of the country has an elevated likelihood of above-normal rainfall, signaling a busy but potentially hazardous holiday week with heavy rain, strong thunderstorms, and even winter storms in parts of the north. Alongside the short-range outlook, the 3-4-week CPC forecast, covering the period from Thanksgiving through December 12th, continues to reinforce the expectation of significantly colder conditions across the northern United States. Meanwhile, the southeast and the Gulf Coast may remain warmer than average, though the degree of warmth is not expected to be extreme. This is a period in which the ongoing tug-of-war between cold air plunging southward from Canada and warm air lingering in the south could generate highly volatile weather patterns, with low-pressure systems strengthening rapidly as they track from the west toward the east. A closer analysis of the ECMWF model from Europe, the American GFS and extended ensembles, shows that the starting point of this pattern shift will likely fall around Sunday, November 23rd. At that time, models predict the formation of a low-pressure system across the southern United States, which may move northeastward and produce a broad swath of rainfall from the central states into the southeast. This system will also pave the way for a surge of colder air behind it, spreading into the west and the north. By November 26-27, Thanksgiving and the preceding day, both the ECMWF and GFS simulate a large-scale low-pressure system sweeping across the Great Lakes and the Northeast. Although the two models differ regarding intensity and severity, they agree on the presence of a sharp temperature boundary stretching across the central U.S. north of this boundary. Cold air may interact with southern moisture to produce winter storms or freezing rain. South of it, conditions could support severe thunderstorms, damaging winds, and heavy rainfall. In such a divided weather scenario, a 300-400 kilometer drive during Thanksgiving week could take travelers from sunny and warm at 70 degrees to snowfall and sub-freezing wind chills below 30 degrees. This is one of the characteristic signs of years when early season SSW events occur. Long-range models also show that in December, a strong high-pressure block may form over Alaska and the Arctic, a pattern associated with a negative EPO phase. When this structure holds, cold air tends to spill southward in repeated waves. During the first half of December, cold conditions may concentrate in the west and the northern tier, including Montana, the Dakotas, and the northern plains. From mid-December onward, models begin expanding the cold pool eastward into the Midwest and the Northeast. Toward the end of December, in several scenarios, the cold trough deepens toward the eastern seaboard, setting the stage for an extended cold period and altering the typical storm tracks during the winter season. Alongside polar influences, the Madden-Julian Oscillation, MJO, is also a critical player. Currently, the MJO is in phases 6 to 7, which are not conducive to deep cold outbreaks in the southeastern United States. However, forecasts indicate that the oscillation will gradually shift into phase 7, and by late December may enter phase 8, a phase considered highly favorable for driving cold air deeper into the east and sustaining it for longer. If this scenario aligns with signals from SSW and a negative EPO, late December could see the atmospheric structure lock into a classic cold pattern, increasing the likelihood of winter storms moving from the southern track up through the I-95 corridor, even affecting typically less snowy states such as Tennessee, northern Georgia, and the Carolinas. Meanwhile, at the present moment, many parts of the United States are still facing extreme weather. In the Northeast and New England, a strong low-pressure system is producing heavy rain, strong winds, and freezing precipitation across higher elevations. Vermont, New Hampshire, and parts of Maine may receive moderate to significant snowfall in the next 24 hours, raising risks of icy roads and travel disruptions. The Upper Peninsula of Michigan is experiencing lake-effect snow with substantial accumulations that may persist another 36 hours. Meanwhile, Southern California and the Southwest deserts are being affected by a moisture-rich Pacific system, delivering heavy rainfall, increasing the risk of flash floods, landslides, and urban flooding. In contrast, the Southeast continues to see prolonged warmth, limited rainfall, and elevated wildfire risk. In summary, the United States is standing at the threshold of a highly volatile transitional period, where influences from the stratosphere, jet stream behavior, tropical oscillations, and large-scale atmospheric drivers are converging to produce significant weather changes from late November into early December. Although Thanksgiving week may feel unusually warm across the east, lurking behind that warmth is a sequence of storm systems and extreme weather risks, potentially affecting tens of millions of people. Moving into December, Arctic air is expected to push farther south, expand more broadly, and may produce deep cold outbreaks, especially if the MJO shifts into a favorable phase. This is a complex and fast-changing weather scenario that requires residents in each region to closely follow short-term forecasts for safe travel and daily planning.